betrayal and murder set in Fayetteville, Arkansas, in April of 2015. This is the story of Johnny Ray Baxter, a successful real estate agent whose life was brutally cut short by someone he trusted most.
In Fayetteville, Arkansas, a shocking tale of betrayal, secrets, and murder shattered the lives of those involved. Welcome to the chilling story of Johnny Ray Baxter's tragic end.
Johnny Ray was married to Darlene Baxter. Johnny Ray and Darlene seemed like a happy couple. Johnny Ray was Darlene's second husband. He had a stepdaughter named Lily Adams, who was 18 and in her first year at the University of Arkansas studying psychology. Johnny Ray got along well with Lily, or so it seemed to the outside world. Outside of work, Johnny Ray loved sailing. He owned a small sailboat named Dreamcatcher, which he often took out on Beaver Lake. He enjoyed spending weekends on the water, feeling the wind and the waves.
The life of Johnny Ray Baxter, a guy who seemed to have it all. Johnny Ray was a 45-year-old real estate agent in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and not just any real estate agent. He was the kind of guy everyone knew and liked. With over 20 years of experience in the field, he worked for a local company called Ozark Realty. People loved his big smile and friendly personality. You know, the kind of person who could make anyone feel at ease, whether you were buying your first home or selling a commercial property. Johnny Ray wasn't just good at his job, he was passionate about it. He had a degree in business administration from the University of Arkansas, and he really knew his stuff. But he wasn't all work and no play. Outside of work, he had this love for sailing. He even had his own sailboat, charmingly named Dreamcatcher. On weekends, you'd often find him on Beaver Lake enjoying the wind and the waves. His friends at the marina, they'd tell you he was always up for lending a hand or sharing a laugh. Sounds like the perfect life, right?
Darlene had a tough past. She became a mother at 16 and worked as a stripper to support herself and her daughter, Lily. Despite these challenges, she built a successful career and was known for her strong-willed nature.
Johnny Ray was married to Darlene Baxter, his second wife. The two of them seemed like a happy couple, the kind you'd see in those real estate ads, always smiling, always together. Darlene was an accountant, meticulous and hardworking, which seemed like a good balance for Johnny Ray's outgoing nature. They had this beautiful home and were pretty much living the dream. Johnny Ray also had a stepdaughter named Lily Adams. She was 18 and studying psychology at the University of Arkansas. From the outside, it seemed like they had a great relationship. He was supportive and they got along well. At least that's what everyone thought. He was even planning a big surprise anniversary trip for Darlene, complete with a cabin in the Ozark Mountains and concert tickets in Little Rock. He'd picked out a special necklace from a local jewelry store, Sissy's Log Cabin, as a gift for her. It looked like he was a doting husband and stepfather, really putting in the effort to keep his family happy.
Necklace from a local jewelry store, Sissy's Log Cabin, as a gift for Darlene. Despite his busy schedule, Johnny Ray made time to visit the local coffee shop, Arsagas, every morning. He enjoyed reading the newspaper and chatting with the baristas. His favorite drink was a caramel latte. On April 10, 2015, 2 days before his death, Johnny Ray was seen at Arsagas smiling and talking about his plans for the weekend. He seemed happy and excited about the future.
But as we all know, appearances can be deceiving. Johnny Ray's life, which seemed so perfect, had its hidden troubles. There were whispers of late-night work meetings and a growing distance in his marriage. It turns out the picture-perfect life was just a facade, hiding some deep and troubling secrets. And that's Johnny Ray Baxter, a man who had it all, or so it seemed, before everything unraveled in the most tragic way possible. His life story is a reminder that sometimes what's happening behind closed doors can be far different from the smiling faces we see in public.
Lily Adams. Lily was 18 years old and a freshman at the University of Arkansas, where she was studying psychology. She was known for her outgoing and sociable personality. Her friends described her as bright and ambitious, always eager to learn new things. Lily had a complicated relationship with her stepfather, Johnny Ray. It was revealed during the investigation that their relationship had evolved into a secret affair. This affair made Lily feel guilty and conflicted, especially as she saw the strain it put on her mother, Darlene.
Lily Adams, the stepdaughter who found herself in the middle of this tragic mess. Lily was just 18, a bright and ambitious young woman studying psychology at the University of Arkansas. She was known for being outgoing and sociable, always eager to learn and make new friends. On the surface, she seemed like any other college student, balancing classes and social life, but underneath, there was a lot more going on. The affair between Lily and Johnny Ray, her stepfather, started about 6 months before his murder. It's one of those shocking revelations that just floors you. How could this happen? Well, Lily had been feeling lonely and confused, and Johnny Ray, who was always around, became a confidant. One thing led to another, and they ended up in a secret relationship. This wasn't just a fleeting thing. There were letters and notes between them that showed the depth of their connection and the emotional struggles they were both facing. The morning of April 12, 2015 was a nightmare for everyone involved. Johnny Ray's body was discovered by his neighbor, Michael Everly. Michael was just doing a favor for Darlene, who was worried because she hadn't heard from Johnny Ray. When Michael walked into the house, he knew something was off. The place was too quiet, and as he made his way to the master bedroom, he found Johnny Ray's body in a pool of blood. It was brutal. Johnny Ray had been bludgeoned to death with a hammer, which was found nearby, covered in blood. The room was a disaster. Furniture overturned, blood splattered on the walls. It was clear that Johnny Ray had fought for his life. Michael was horrified and immediately called 911, his voice shaking as he described the scene. The whole neighborhood was in shock as the news spread, and soon the street was filled with police and curious neighbors, all trying to wrap their heads around what had happened. Enter detectives Sarah Mitchell Kinsey and James Carter, the duo tasked with solving this horrific case. Detective Kinsey was known for her sharp attention to detail, and Detective Carter had a reputation for being methodical. They quickly got to work securing the crime scene and collecting evidence. The hammer, the blood samples, fingerprints, all were bagged and sent for analysis. They had a tough job ahead of them, but they were determined to get to the bottom of it. Their first move was to interview everyone close to Johnny Ray. The initial suspects were Darlene Baxter, Lily Adams, and even Johnny Ray's ex-wife, Diddy Baxter. The detectives had to sift through alibis, check stories, and look for any inconsistencies. It was during these interrogations that the affair between Johnny Ray and Lily came to light, adding a whole new layer of complexity to the case. Darlene Baxter, Johnny Ray's wife, was immediately under scrutiny. She was 34, an accountant by profession, and had her own share of challenges, including becoming a mother at 16 and working as a stripper to support herself and Lily. Despite these hardships, she had built a stable life for herself. But the discovery of the affair was like a bombshell. It shattered her world, and the stress and emotional turmoil were evident. Darlene had an alibi. She was visiting her sister in Little Rock at the time of the murder, a fact supported by text messages and photos. However, the detectives still had doubts, especially after finding her diary, which detailed her frustrations and suspicions. The affair provided a strong motive, and the community was shocked when she was arrested. Many couldn't believe that the hardworking, intelligent woman they knew could be involved in such a violent crime. Lily, too, was a key suspect. The detectives questioned her twice, and each time she seemed more nervous. She admitted to the affair, which started out of loneliness and confusion. She described arguing with Johnny Ray the night before his death, which only added to the suspicion. Her alibi, confirmed by a friend, was that she was studying for a midterm exam that night. Despite this, the emotional strain in the affair made her a prime suspect. The notes and letters between her and Johnny Ray were found, revealing a troubled relationship filled with guilt and emotional conflict. And then there was Diddy Baxter, Johnny Ray's ex-wife. She had a contentious relationship with him and never approved of his marriage to Darlene. Known for her hot temper, Diddy was another person the detectives had to consider. During her interrogation, she didn't hold back her disdain for Darlene, calling her a homewrecker. Her alibi was that she was at home watching TV and drinking wine, but there were no witnesses to back this up. The detectives found a pair of gardening gloves similar to those found at the park where new evidence had been discovered, but there was no direct evidence linking her to the crime. Just when it seemed like the case might stall, a jogger near Beaver Lake stumbled upon something that blew the whole investigation wide open. He found a bloody shirt and a pair of gloves partially buried under some leaves. Naturally, he called the police, and within minutes, the detectives were on the scene. This was a game changer. Forensic analysis showed that the blood on the shirt matched Johnny Ray's DNA. But it got even more interesting. Fingerprints on the gloves didn't belong to Johnny Ray. This crucial piece of evidence pushed the detectives to dig deeper. They reviewed surveillance footage from around Beaver Lake and hit the jackpot. There it was, footage of Darlene Baxter's car, a blue Honda Civic, driving towards the lake late on the night of the murder. This directly contradicted her alibi and placed her at the scene around the time of the crime. It was the smoking gun the detectives needed to tie her to the murder. The trial of Darlene Baxter began on July 15, 2015, and it was a spectacle. The courtroom was packed not just with reporters from local news stations like KFSM and KNWA, but also with community members eager to see justice served. The prosecution, led by District Attorney Robert Stevens, laid out a compelling case. They argued that Darlene, driven by rage and betrayal after discovering the affair between Johnny Ray and Lily, committed the murder. They presented the surveillance footage, forensic evidence, and the damning inconsistencies in Darlene's story. On the other side, Darlene's defense attorney, Michelle Williams, fought hard. She claimed that the evidence was circumstantial and argued that someone else could have been responsible. She questioned the reliability of the surveillance footage and suggested that Darlene was being unfairly targeted. Throughout the trial, Johnny Ray's family, especially Lily, sat in the courtroom, visibly shaken. The emotional toll was enormous. Lily was torn between the loss of her stepfather and the potential conviction of her mother. After 2 weeks of intense testimony and arguments, the jury deliberated for 3 days. On August 3, 2015, the verdict was announced. Darlene Baxter was found guilty of first-degree murder. So what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.